90% of solo AI businesses die in week 2. Not because the code fails, because the runtime does. Every Claude code tutorial online right now shows you how to build an app in an afternoon. 0 of them show you the boring layer that keeps it breathing while you sleep. If you've shipped something with Claude and watched it silently crash on a Tuesday morning, you already know. In the next 10 minutes, I'll show you the exact 3-file runtime baseline I drop into every production project. I run 3 live products on 1 home server. 0 paid infra. Uptime measured in weeks. Let's start with the file nobody talks about. Here's the scenario I see every week. A solo founder watches a 4-hour Claude code course, spends a weekend building a genuinely useful app, and ships it. Monday it works. Tuesday it works. Wednesday at 3 a.m. A background job silently dies, and by Friday they've lost 4 days of invoices, or leads, or client work. And they don't even know until the customer emails them asking where their receipt is. That was me, month 1. Silent crash on an invoice pipeline. 4 days of lost data. No alert, no log, no clue. The code was fine. The runtime was the problem. And this is the gap nobody teaches. Every tutorial optimizes for the demo. Get something working in an hour. Screenshot it. Post it. But a solo business doesn't run on demos. It runs on the layer between your code and the operating system. Process supervisors, log rotation, health checks, restart policies. Boring, unglamorous, and the entire reason my 3 production apps have been running for months on a machine sitting under my desk. Let me walk you through the exact baseline. 3 files. That's it. I drop these into every Claude code project before it ever sees a real user. File 1 is the process manager config. I use PM2 because it's dead simple and it survives reboots. The config declares every long-running process, your API, your workers, your scheduled agents, with a restart policy, a memory ceiling, and a log path. If a process crashes, PM2 restarts it in under a second. If it crashes 10 times in a minute, PM2 backs off and marks it unstable so it doesn't burn CPU in a loop. That single file is the difference between silent death and self-healing. File 2 is the log rotation config. This one bites everyone. You ship your app, logs pile up, and 3 weeks later your disk is full and everything stops. I use logrotate with a simple rule. Rotate daily. Keep 7 days compressed. Delete anything older. 10 lines of config. Never think about disk space again. File 3 is the health check. This is a tiny endpoint your app exposes that returns OK if the database is reachable, the queue is draining, and the last scheduled job ran within the expected window. Not just, is the server up, is the actual work happening? Then I have a watchdog agent, itself a Claude code sub-agent, that hits that endpoint every 10 minutes. If it gets anything other than OK, it reads the last 100 lines of the log, summarizes what went wrong, and pings me on Telegram. I've caught database timeouts, expired API keys, and 1 memory leak this way, all before a single customer noticed. Now here's how this scales across multiple products on 1 machine. My home server runs 3 completely separate applications in parallel. Each one lives in its own directory, its own WSL Ubuntu session, its own PM2 namespace, its own port range, its own log directory. They never step on each other because the boundaries are explicit at the runtime layer, not just the code layer. When I spin up a new client project, I clone the 3-file baseline, change the app name and port, and it slots in next to the others without touching anything that's already running. Let's talk cost, because this is where most solo founders get quietly bled. The default stack the internet pushes is Vercel plus Supabase plus Railway plus some monitoring SaaS. That's easily $200 a month before you have a single paying customer. My infrastructure cost across 3 live products is 0. One machine I already own. Residential internet I already pay for. A free dynamic DNS entry. And Cloudflare tunnel for public access. The runtime layer is what makes self-hosting actually viable. Because without process supervision and health checks, self-hosting is a nightmare. And that's exactly why people pay the platform tax. Fix the runtime and the tax disappears. The failure I mentioned earlier, the silent invoice crash, happened because I had none of this. The node process died. Nothing restarted it. No logs were rotated, so I couldn't even find the stack trace. And no health check meant no alert. The fix wasn't a code change. It was adding those 3 files. That was over a year ago. Same app, same server, still running. If you're building anything real with Claude code and you want it to survive past week 2, stop optimizing the build and start engineering the runtime. The build is the easy part. Claude does most of it for you now. The runtime is what separates a weekend project from a product. This is exactly the layer we install for clients at BizflowAI.io. Production runtime, monitoring, and self-healing agents wrapped around whatever you've built. Go see real examples of what we ship at BizflowAI.io. If this saved you a headache, hit subscribe and ring the bell so the next production breakdown finds you. And if you've got a workflow or an app that keeps almost working, book a free 30-minute discovery call at BizflowAI.io. And we'll map out what it takes to make it survive at 3 a.m.